Hey YouTube guys, we've got Friday morning here, and you can see that it had rained, and it was raining about 5 minutes ago, and it's cold today. It's like almost around 42 degrees, so I had to build a fire in the garage to warm things up a little bit. And I took those boards off of there because they needed to be stained and I didn't want them wet. Okay, so I have a wood fire going in there this morning. I just went over to the house to grab the camera because I want to show you something that I have going on here with the planer. Took it apart so that I could fix it. Okay, that should be good. Alright, that'll cool down a little bit and stay like that. I just want to adjust this thing. Okay. Alright, so the story with the planer. You know that I've had a bunch of planers because I've been planing a whole lot of wood. And this morning I was cleaning the rubber sponge on this one, that's the infeed roller. And I just wanted to show you, this is what happened to the infeed roller to the Porter cable. It came apart pretty good, and I think it came apart because I didn't clean this one. I was working it pretty hard, and I was trying to get done with what I needed to do, and the roller came apart. So luckily I was able to order another roller, and I just wanted to show you how easy this was to take this apart. So when you turn it over, and I wanted to take this off of here, this plate, but man, them screws are in there so tight I can't get them loose, and I don't want to really wreck it or anything. So anyhow, if you look here, you can see there's a spring in here. Let me see if I can get you some light. Yeah, you can see that there's a spring in here at the tip of my finger and two screw holes. And what happens is these pieces here go over top, and then two screws from here go in on each side to hold this thing in. So basically what you've got here is this end has a flat side on it, so that goes against the spring, and this one has a flat side and goes against the spring. And also there's a chain down there. You can see the chain that's hanging down. Let me see if I can actually show it to you a little bit better. Here, right here. So this chain is on the gear on the inside there, you know, towards the middle of the machine, and that was on top of this sprocket that was here. So what I'm getting at is it's a real easy fix, okay? It's a matter of taking 4 screws out, 2 here, 1, 2, 1, 2, and just gently pulling this thing out of here. And I mean, it came out without any trouble. It should go in without any trouble. The hardest thing is just trying to put the chain onto the sprocket, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal, and while it's apart I'll clean it good in there. But anyway, I thought you might want to see this, you know, how to actually fix this thing. And the problem here is that the roller cost almost $100, or it was $100, slightly, somewhere in the neighborhood of $100. Now, you know, the whole machine is this one was $250. Right now they're $329. You know, when you're looking at like 1/3 the cost for one part, it's hard to determine whether it's worth it or not. But $100 is better than spending another $300. So, you know, this is what I've come up with. Now, I don't know if there's a way that I could actually do something different with this, you know, to put this on here. And you can see it came apart pretty good there. And I think that if these are kept clean so that the board doesn't grab them really hard, I think they'll last pretty long. Now you got to remember, there's been a lot of wood through this planer, 5,000 to 8,000 board feet. I can't remember which exactly, but a lot. Okay, so, and when I say like 5,000 board feet, don't forget, I got to run the boards through here almost 4 times every board to get it to be what I want it to be. So it's just a matter of, it lasted a while. Yes, I probably wore it out in maybe 6 months or less, but nonetheless, it did the job and I was satisfied with that. You could spend a lot more money on bigger planers, and I don't think you're going to get any more suitable cut on the wood than what I got on this. So I'm actually satisfied with this thing, and the fact that I can buy the new part, just helps me to be able to know where I stand with this. So this roller and stuff is the exact same as the one that's on this Craftsman. So, I ordered one for the for the Porter Cable exactly, and we'll see what happens if they're the same, and I'm pretty sure that they are. So, anyway, I thought you might want to see that. So it's just a matter of 2 bolts on each side with a strap on each side. These flat pieces here, you can see there's like a round ring in there. It goes against the spring. You can press it in there and with the chain on, and then just tighten up the bolts. Now, this would still work like at this very end for small stuff, and at this end, and it'll probably still pull in a 12-inch board. The problem with it is, with this thing being a little floppy and it's spinning, it doesn't spin real hard, but with it spinning, this is more or less wanting to come out, so it forces this against the center of the wood rather than on the edges, which doesn't really work good. So I just wanted it to be better than that. So once I get the new part, I went into town, I thought it was at the post office today, but there was something else there. So once I get the new part, I'll show you, what it's like to put it in. But in the meantime, I'm just glad that this comes out from the bottom and I didn't have to take the whole freaking thing apart, because that was going to drive me nuts. I don't really have time for that. So this is an easy fix. I think it's worth fixing. Oh, on the side here where the gears are and stuff, there's also a plastic cover. You can see it right there where the screwdriver is. That just snaps in around that stuff once you get the roller back in place. To hide the gears in that, I suppose, which is good. Alright guys, so that's what I was working on this morning because of the rain, and I built the fire. And I might try and set up these spindles that I have in here to be able to stain these in the garage. But I'll tell you, I really hate doing it in here because they stink so much with that copper coat. So I'm going to check the weather. If it's going to be nice in 2 days, I think I'll let it go and do it then. So I just thought you might want to see this. It's not a big deal. It's very easy to do. Underneath here you can see how the cranks both sides, and I have to tell you that the gears and stuff on this Porter Cable are much more tighter than the ones are on this machine. I don't know why. I mean, it's supposed to be made in America, this one here, and I'm a little disappointed with it. I really like the Porter Cable, and I think that the Porter Cable may end up being a better machine, but we'll see. I mean, like I say, they're both probably made in the same warehouse, but it just depends on who's putting them together, whether it's going to be better or not. Alright guys, so that's the story with that. Now I know I mentioned this a couple minutes ago, but if you take this planer and turn it over, and you compare it to this one, this gear moves back and forth quite a bit and side to side, but in the Porter Cable one, it's solid. Both of these gears are nice and solid, so when you crank them, you're not getting any lift on one side or the other when you put a board in. When you put a board in here and you have this set at 4 inches, it stays at 4 inches. When you put a board in the Craftsman one, like let's say you put a board at 2 inches, it actually goes back up a little higher because the head of that is moving slightly on this side. But this Porter Cable doesn't move at all. Now that's something with the way that they built them. I'm not sure where that problem is yet because I haven't looked for it, but I'm just saying it exists. It's there. So, you know, it's one thing after the other. You expect to buy all good stuff for the money you spend, and you don't get that anyway. It's a shame.